there, my name is Megan, and we've been working through our Desk Worker series for a while. Today we're going to do a little bit of work on hips and glutes and releasing the legs a little bit, but we still want it to be something that we can do in our work clothes, in our workspace, and at our desk. You will need the space to stand up and move around a little bit, but other than that, we can just dive in. So to start, I'm just going to move my chair over so you can see me a little bit better. To start, I'm going to shift my bum forward so that there's space between me and the back of the chair. I've got my hands resting on my desk, and I want to think about tilting my pelvis forward, like you're trying to pull your pubic bone up towards your face. And you'll notice that that has closed the space in here a little bit. And then from the top down, I'm going to round my back, bringing my back and pelvis up into neutral, and then tilting the other way, leaning back slightly, moving nice and slow, just through a few of these. Notice what you feel. Good. And then coming back up into neutral, taking our hands down our sides if you have the space. If you have hand rests in the way, you can just bring your hands to rest in front of you. And let's lean over to one side. So one side of the low back is compressing, the other opening up. It might even feel nice to lift up and overhead. Coming back into the center, leaning to the other side, maybe adding an arm up overhead. Good. And we'll come to stand up. So, having a little bit of space to move, I might rest my hands on my chair if I feel I need a little balance. Let's bring one leg, knee up in front of you, open it out to the side, and then we're going to tilt our knee forward, pushing your leg behind you, pull your knees into the middle. So we're drawing a nice slow circle with our leg, trying to get into that range of motion in our hip. We're going to do 3 in this direction. Coming to stand back down. Same thing, other side. I'm just going to change so you get a little bit of a different angle of view. So knee comes up in front of you, out to the side, lift the heel behind you, leg pushes back as the knee pulls into the center. Nice and slow through this range of motion. Try not to rush it. And we're doing 3 circles. Good. Leg comes back in. Often when we're sitting, we're getting tight through the hip flexors. So let's do a little stretch to help open up. Maybe resting your hand on your desk or the back of the chair for balance, leaning into one leg, bringing the opposite foot up towards your bum. Try to make sure that the legs aren't splaying out. We want to pull the knees together in single line with each other. You might feel that through the muscle belly in the quad, or you might feel it right in the hips. If you're very flexible, you might intensify the stretch by squeezing the bum. It's a small motion, but look, you'll see how my bottom of my quad pulls behind me as the space in the front of the hip opens up. Notice how you feel. Gently release this side, leaning over to the other side, coming up. Now, we're going to do the same stretch on this side. If you're finding that you can't reach that back foot, we can use our chair to help here. So resting our foot on the chair if we can't reach, getting into that position with knees together, and maybe squeezing the bum so we have that intensity even if we don't have the same amount of depth, targeting the same muscles. So another way to do this stretch here. Couple more seconds. Good. Let it release. And coming into our low back a little bit, we did it seated, but let's do one standing. You might reach your hands up overhead if it feels good. You can keep your hands on your side as well, but we're going to reach up and over to one side. So you can stretch the arms long, you can hold at the elbows, you can also just let the arms slide down the torso. You won't feel that stretch up into the torso so much, but I care more for this exercise of us focusing in the low back. Coming back up to center, over to the other side. Try to make sure that you're in the same plane side to side. So the torso shouldn't be coming too far forward, nor should the hips. We want the hips and shoulders still in alignment with each other. Good. Coming back up to center. We might also gently stretch into the low back. So bring your hands onto the back of your hips, onto your glutes, like you're sliding your hands in your jeans pockets. Stretch up nice and tall, and then lifting backwards. Squeeze through the glutes so that they're engaged. Coming back up through center. Hands are going to come on the top of our legs, letting the upper back round, low back rounds, and then coming to let the arms hang. You want that rounding in through the low back. If the legs are really tight, bend through the knees. That's okay. You really want to focus on this rounding of the spine here. Play with leaning into your heels, maybe even lifting your toes up a little bit, and then leaning forward into your toes, lifting your heels, and then try to come to a nice center point in the middle of your foot. Good. Coming back up. And we're going to reach our hands forward for our desk, walking our legs out behind us, letting the chest come forward. Push the bum out behind you, like you could feel your hips pushing away from your neck, decompressing the spine. Good. And coming back up to the center. Those hamstrings can also get stuck in a little bit of a position. So we're going to do a forward fold again, this time worrying less about the mid-back and more about the legs. So you want to keep some softness into the knees. I know you can't quite see mine. But you want to keep a little bit of softness into the knees. You're going to let yourself round forward. It's fine for the back body to round. And you want to feel that line of pull up the back of the legs. If you're needing to bend your knees very deeply, come out of the shape a little bit and try to keep nice straight legs, keeping that line of pull up through the bum. Especially this top attachment of our hamstring tends to get a bit weakened in that sitting position. Good. Okay. Now, requiring a bit of balance again, so holding on to something, let's bring one knee up towards our chest. Try to drop the foot so that you're not doing too much work. And the other thing we want to make sure is that our hips are even. So it's normal to kind of hike up and use the low back. That leg that's lifted, I want you to drop your bum and hip down. If you have super awesome balance, you might hold on with both arms, but it's okay to hold on to your desk or your chair. This is just allowing a bit of a release through the low back and the glutes. From here, we're going to open our knee out to the side. Squeeze your hips, maybe feeling a strain in the inside of the leg or an activation. Good. And then this leg we just had out in front of us, let's reach behind us, coming in to a standing lunge. So on my back leg, I'm up on my tippy toes. In my front leg, I'm bending forward, bringing my body weight forward, but I want to keep my shoulders stacked over my hips. Maybe I feel it in this leg that's reaching back through the front of the hip. And then just for fun, squeeze through the belly, lean forward, push off that back leg, and step up. Let's do the same motion on the other side. We're going to bring the other knee in towards the chest. I'm going to do it with one hand so you can see me holding on to a support. Thinking about curling that pelvis forward, getting longer through the low back. I'm going to switch my hands so I can open my knee out to the side. This is also nice to work on those ankles for a little bit of balance and stability work. And then reaching my bent leg out behind me. You can't see, but I'm up on my tippy toes on my back leg, and I'm bending through my front knee as I bring my body weight forward, starting to feel that stretch through the front of my thigh. Notice how it feels on the second side. Squeezing through the core, push off that back leg, stepping up. And that concludes just a little stretch out through the hips, through the low back, and yet another desk worker video. Have a good